Hey y'all, happy Sunday. Hope everything is going well for you and yours. This is the portion of the show where we let YouTube send out the notifications via social media, let folks know that the broadcast is getting ready to start. We'll sit here and we'll count down the next 2 minutes before I push that button and go live. If you happen to be watching this on replay, go ahead and scrub past this graphic until you see my smiling face. If you have any questions and you're joining us today in the live chat, feel free to go ahead and add those questions to the live chat now, and we'll get to them in due course during this live Q&A session. So, sit back, relax, grab a beverage, and we'll get going in about 30 seconds. Hey y'all, how you doing? Happy Sunday. Hope everybody's doing well and everything is going your way. So, oh man, what a whirlwind few days. I don't know about y'all because I was a part of it, a small part of it, but after my presentation for the Vectric user group meeting Thursday, Friday, Saturday, my presentation was on Friday. The adrenaline letdown, because I was pretty hyped. I was very hyped for the whole thing. The adrenaline yet let down. Yesterday, I was nothing but a slug. I didn't do a thing. I sat on my tail, and that was it. For those of you who missed the Vectric user group meeting, or for those of you who, for everybody, if you were there, I will say that all of their videos, every single presentation is over on their YouTube channel right now. And I believe, let me check to make sure. Yes, I did. I put a link to the user group meeting homepage down in the description of this video. And you can go back and watch all the videos there on that page. Or if you scroll quite a ways down, there is a link to Vectric's homepage for you to check out. I didn't put it in there. I will also put a link to their YouTube channel. So the 2021 user group meeting homepage will stay active for the rest of the year until like the month before the 2022 user group meeting. And then they'll take it down. You have access to all the live chat and everything on those pages. It was different from the chat was different from what was over on YouTube. They had people manning the YouTube side and they had people manning the homepage side. So the chat, the questions, the answers are different. So it was kind of a whirlwind thing. I don't know if you noticed, I got a little bit rattled there towards the end because I had my tablet over here off to the side, and that was there for getting cues from Vectric on when to go live. Hey, we're having a problem, anything like that. I was also monitoring the chat over there, and I had my bullet notes over there. And there towards the end, something happened. My bullet notes went away. So I had certain things I wanted to say. I had certain things that I needed to get across, but I wasn't able to do it because I couldn't see my bullet notes. So a few things went out of order while I'm telling everybody, do these things in order. So, okay, but before you do this, do that. Oh, before you do this, do that. Meanwhile, I've already done them. And anyway, it was just a mess. So, but yeah, I had a good time. I was, for some reason, I know I do this every week. And for some reason, I was nervous. I mean, there was that moment of panic there about, I'm sitting here and waiting for my cue to go live. And I had about 45 seconds. And I'm sitting there thinking, what are you doing here? What are you doing? You're just some dude in a shed. What the heck do you think you're doing? And then it's like, all right, relax. You've done this before. Just chill out. Everything's fine. Okay, well, so we made it and we're good for another year. If you didn't see it, head over to Vectric's YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description after I'm done, and you can go back and you can see all 3 days worth of presentations. And believe me, they're worth it. But as somebody said up here, let me see who that was. I believe it was Russell, but I don't want to misquote him. I don't want to say it was the wrong person. Well, Russell did say it'll take his brain ages to catch up on so much good info. That is true. Yeah, okay. It was Thomas Grimm who said it was a bit like drinking from a fire hose. Absolutely. I mean, there was a massive flood of information from some top-notch speakers to include, Todd and Becky. They are both absolute wizards with Aspire software. And I mean, Becky basically just designed an entire 3D sign with, I don't remember how many different elements in there, in real time in about 40 minutes, and then assembled them all, for the last few minutes, and then answered questions. It's like, are you kidding me? It would have taken me weeks to get that done. So, the plan is next year, for it to be live in San Diego. Now, I hesitated to say that because 2020, it was supposed to be in San Diego. We all know what happened in 2020. This year, it was postponed. It was all reset and rescheduled to happen in San Diego this year. Just they had to have some lead time. And when they finally made the decision to pull the plug and say, no, we can't go to San Diego, there were still international travel restrictions. So they physically could not come over from the UK. And I don't know if that was on our side or on the UK side. I really don't know. But they decided, well, we can't do it. Then I guess some of those restrictions eased, some of them didn't. I don't know. The plan is for it to be live in San Diego next year. And I have been invited to present again. I'm not at liberty to discuss the topic yet, but I do hope you all will come. I think they have the preliminary info up on their website now, but I'm not certain of that. But go to vectric.com and check it out. They will, they will be putting information up as it gets closer for certain. So, with that being said, with all of that being said, I know that during the presentation, there were a bunch of questions being asked. And that was part of the problem. I could not see those questions. Now, one of those questions I do know was from Becca Miller, who unfortunately can't be here. And she was asking why, when I demonstrated flipping the material over, why I didn't just drill the holes for the locating dowels The holes for the locating dowels on the surface of the material, why didn't I just drill them all the way through? And I wish she was here because I would like to get a clarification from her. If you're talking about drilling all the way through the material to put your locating dowels in the spoil board, that won't work. That won't work. They will not line up. If you're talking about drilling all the way through so you can see those locating dowels that you put in your spoil board through the surface of the material, then that's another story. Yes, you can do that if you want. I don't want to really confuse it. And I still had a lot of questions about, are you sure that's going to work? Are they going to line up? So I came up with an El Cheapo little training aid to kind of show what I'm talking about here. I have 2 cards, okay? And some, painter's tape on the back to illustrate what I'm talking about. When you drill the holes in the top surface of the material, I'm drilling one down here on this corner, one up here at the top. My camera's backwards, which is why I'm doing this. And that works fine. That's the holes in the surface of the material. When you go to drill those locating dowel holes in the spoil board, this is your material here. Those holes are going to be located completely opposite. Okay? That's what I was trying to get across to everybody. So you put your material down on your spoil board, you drill your locating dowel holes here and here, then you carve the front of your project. You get finished with the top of the project, you drill the locating dowel holes exactly opposite in the spoil board. Then, when you flip the material over side to side like I did, now see, I did it backwards. Yep, I did it backwards. There we go. When you flip the material side to side like I did, they line up. Now, Edward from Vectric and a couple of other people were saying, well, you could accidentally, I hope everybody can see those are blue. You could accidentally put that on backwards if you flipped it top to bottom. And I said, I don't think so. They said, yes, you can. So I said, how? They won't match up. They won't line up. So I guess it is a little bit possible. You would really have to kind of play around with it, but you would notice that your material's out of whack. So anyway, my whole point is that when you drill a hole from the top, then flip it over to the bottom, it transfers to the other side. That was my thing. You can drill the hole in the material all the way through. Put your locating dowel, drill the holes in your spoil board, put your locating dowels in there, and then use those holes drilled all the way through the material to kind of spot where those dowels are. Because you have to kind of bend down, take a look, and get it all lined up, and then push it right in. And Russell Faraday is spot on. Here's the thing. Put your dowel holes a long way from being symmetrical. That way, if you have, now I had to do this because of my hole punch. If you have this dowel hole up here and this one down here, I guess it's conceivable that you could get it mistaken. But if you've got a dowel hole down here and this one way out here, if you flip it over, it's really going to be out of line. I mean, if your material is sitting like that, you put it down wrong. So that was the point that I was trying to make. So, okay, let's see. And there it is also. So if you flip the wrong way, the work is obviously offline. Exactly. You make it obvious. So, okay, let's see. How many of y'all, I know quite a few of you did see the UGM based on your contents. What was your favorite presentation? I know I have my favorite, but I don't want to color it for anybody. I'm sure we all had favorites, but oh my gosh, was that ever something? That was a whirlwind of information. I mean, you had the folks from Avid there talking about chip extraction and dust collection, and they made a couple of good points as far as I don't know. What did you think of their tip to create an offset as a channel for chip evacuation? I mean, it's adding another vector and adding another tool path to the mix. But I thought that was an interesting concept, especially if you're using a downcut bit. And that was, I don't know what I think about that. Dave, you're good. You're good. Let's see. Steve Rowe, I like the inlays presentation, epoxy and wood. Me too. Me too. Um, let's see. John, the epoxy inlay was over the top. Yes. Richard, the rotary post was a good one. Yes, it was. Let's see. Russell, impossible question. Ask again in a month or two. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, I'm going to agree with Brooks, John, and Steve. The the inlays, I mean, Andy's presentation was fantastic. He did a presentation on wooden inlays, his trial and error, the things that he had to adjust, things he found that were just it was either too weak, it was things didn't fit. Uh, the gluing and clamping, he discovered that it didn't matter how many clamps you put around the center, you always got uneven pressure. So he went with the 20-ton Harbor Freight press just simply for its capacity width-wise. He said 20 tons, he doesn't need 20 tons of pressure, but its capacity width-wise, he could get a larger piece in there underneath the press jaws so that he could press that male into the female. I thought that was a pretty good tip. There were lots of good tips being thrown around. Yes, Richard and Russell, I seriously agree with you. I think my favorite, and I don't know, this may be heresy to some people, some of my woodworking friends specifically, but if you didn't see Shane Peters' epoxy inlay presentation, you are doing yourself a disservice. Go to Vectric Web uh, YouTube channel and look for Shane Peters' epoxy inlays. When I believe it was, yeah, when John said the epoxy inlay was over the top, he is 100% correct. I mean, the work that guy did and does is just absolutely insane. He did a little video presentation of some of the work he's done in the past. And he had to put up in graphics, no, these are not stickers. And he showed the pouring process. He'd lay down the piece, do his carve, and pour a solid color background. Then let that cure for 24 hours, come back the next day and carve some more. Pour that, let it cure, come back. I mean, it might take a week or two to get all of those colors put in there. Then he surfaces the entire thing and it just reveals the artwork, and it literally is artwork. And it was amazing. I mean, he was doing caricature cartoon like portraits of people, and it looked like those people. It was just over the top insane. So good question, the fuzz. What did Shane mean by overlapping vectors with his inlays? I have reached out to Shane, and I plan on asking him a lot about that. And that's one of the questions I have written down on a note card to ask him. And I'm not about stealing somebody's secrets or giving away trade secrets, but I'm you're going to see some inlays out of this guy. That just went crazy. There's no way I will be that good, but we'll see. Let's see here. Acer, we'll get to you real quick here. This is my first time here. Welcome aboard. Just wondering if I have any videos on diamond drag bits and their use. No, sir, I do not. As far as their use is concerned, I'm sure you know what they're used for: engraving acrylic, metal, glass, etc., etc., etc. I have a diamond drag bit. I have not used it yet. I plan on it as soon as I get everything moved in here into the new shop. I just haven't got there yet. But as it sits right now, no, I do not have any videos on using a diamond drag bit. I'm sorry. So, oops, excuse me. Russell Faraday, pouring curved epoxy inlays might be a challenge. It might, but never say never. You know what I mean? I can think of a couple of ways right now that you could pour an inlay on. Well, there's the man himself, Rob Schuster. He did an epoxy inlay on a round drum. Very challenging, but it came out great. Look for Rob Schuster on YouTube. Rob, you don't post a lot of videos, but the videos he has are very, very good. His CNC machine dedicated to machining the inside as well as the outside of drum rings was a stroke of genius. But I think don't you have a video on that drum that you're talking about? Because he's absolutely right. The drum came out looking gorgeous. It was really cool. I don't know if you have a video on it or not. I encourage you to do it. So let's see. Rick French, are all the UGM presentations posted to the Vectric YouTube channel? Yes, sir, they are. And they will stay there. All of 2020s are there. I'm not sure about 2021. Some of 2018s are there. In fact, they have an excellent stacked text video by Dan over there. So very good. Thomas Grimm says there are some YouTube presentations about centrifugal casting of epoxy. Yeah, I don't know about centrifugal because, well, I don't know how that would work, because centrifugal, it would have to be spinning, would tend to want to throw the epoxy away from the outside of the object you're trying to inlay. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm all washed up here because I haven't done it yet. I really, really want to get into it, though. Norm Peterson, I like the inlays, but the bell Todd did really was a real challenge of using Vectric software. Yes, it was. And I don't know if you noticed, Norm, that entire project, he did it in VCarve Desktop. He did not use Aspire for that project. And for those of you who didn't see it, he took a piece of clip art that had a bell on it and another piece of clip art that was a monkey fist rope, the braided rope, what have you. And it had a loop of rope modeled into it. He took that to make the clapper for the bell. He made the bell shape a two-sided project. On the backside, a relief was carved, leaving a peg, so that when you assembled this bell, put it on a plank, you put that peg through the loop on that monkey fist, and the bell would swing back and forth. But then he added another little twist in that he took the control unit, the transmitter from an electronic doorbell, and put it behind that monkey fist. So you could push on that monkey fist and that doorbell would ring. I thought of several different little things that you could put there and that would be, make that a hidden light switch, or use that for something else, sound effect, or, open the curtains or whatever in these smart homes nowadays. I thought that was a pretty cool thing. So let's see, go back and look a little more. Pardon me. Okay, Rob says he drills all the way through the part, then use a 1/4-inch bit as his dowel to line up. I remove the bit after it's clamped down. Okay, yeah, you could do that. Yeah, I see where that would work, but you're still drilling the holes in the spoil board opposite of the holes in the material. And I really do see how that would work. The thing is, my big thing is to make absolutely certain that it can only fit on the spoil board one way. I need to make it Murphy proof, because if I don't, Murphy will come in the shop and beat the dog walking out of me. So I have to try to make everything as close to Murphy proof as I can. So let's see here. Okay, John Harold says, Mark, dowel holes more. Okay. What about two dead center lines, horizontal or vertical? Was first taught that way. In what regard do you mean? Two dead center lines, horizontal or vertical? I don't understand. The thing about the dowel holes is those dowel holes are just there for registration, because again, once you get your material mounted and you're getting ready to make that first carve the top surface, you set your X and Y 0 wherever it is you set, bottom left corner, bottom right, center, whatever. And then after that, you do not change your X, Y 0. That's the way the project was drawn, and that's the way the tool paths were calculated, and that's the way the project's going to be carved. Now, if you're using a perfectly rectangular piece of material and the distance from here to your hole and here to your hole are absolutely the same, it is possible for you to get them confused. But if you have that's why I say this is a poor example. If you have one registration hole up here for your dowel and the other one over here, you can't get it wrong. You can't get it wrong. So it's the asymmetry of those dowel holes that will make it apparent to you if you are getting it wrong, because they either just simply won't go in, they won't fit, or it'll be so out of kilter you know that something is wrong. But I don't know what you mean about the dead center lines, horizontal or vertical. So and Tommy and John were both saying if you drill 3 holes, it will only go one way. That is true. That is true. It will only go one way. And I didn't mean to get into an argument with Edward, and I really don't remember who the other guy was. But they were both saying the same thing, that with two holes, it's probably a it's probably a, you are still able to flip the material the wrong way and have it line up with the holes. To which I said, how? Now, yeah, you can drill 3 holes. You certainly can. And if that works for you, go for it. I'm not opposed to it. My thing was just that if you make the 2 dowel holes asymmetrical, you really can't. Let's see. Santu Lahiri, can you use a corner template to drill the holes? You have a CNC machine. Why would you? That's done in the holes are created in the design drawing and the tool pathing. So you draw your location holes, then those locating holes, then copy them straight over to the other side. Then when you go to calculate your tool path, you calculate those in the tool paths. So there is no need to use a corner template to drill holes. They take literally just a few seconds. I mean, the bit goes over and goes down and goes over and goes down, and it's done. So, system is easy and perfect. So if it's broke, don't try it. Well, it's not perfect. It is not perfect. Again, I am not an expert. Okay. And I just found something that works for me. And I do agree with you on one part, Dave. If it ain't broke, don't fix it till it is. I always make sure to flip my material side to side. So it's just habit to me. I don't flip top to bottom. That's just, to me, and I cast no aspersions here. It just feels unnatural to me to flip top to bottom. It's just easier side for side. I don't know why. It's just me. So, let's see. Steve, well, to a noob like me, you are an expert. Well, believe me, there are people in the chat right now who run rings around me in this software. I know what I know and what I've worked with, but I will never know everything. I don't even attempt. I learn by exploration, by watching, by listening, by talking to people, and by doing it yourself. I mean, there is no replacement for experience, and the only way you're going to get that experience is to do it. And I give this tip to people all the time. What I do is I get on the Craigslist free section and I look for scrap wood that's getting ready to go to the landfill. And I'll go grab that scrap wood, bring it home, and that's what I practice on. I cannot tell you how many old, broken, split up, and half rotted cedar fence boards I carved up learning these processes, because even my failures are fun to me. I very rarely learn anything from my successes, but I almost always try to learn something from my mistakes. I mean, even if what I learned is, oh, so that's why they don't do it that way. I mean, I've had that aha moment countless times, but the only way I have that aha moment is do it and see what happens, So, Russell says, I flip end to end only because my tramming is better that way. Hey, whatever works. Murphy's Law of Combat number 6 is, if it's stupid, but it works, it isn't stupid. So what works for you? If you are getting the result you want, the result you expect, you did it right. And that's all there is to it. So, okay. Let's see. We had Norm Peterson wants to know, how do you keep both sidebars open at the same time? Well, I feel like an idiot because I'm in here talking about Aspire and I don't have Aspire open. So let me load Aspire and I'll show you. You can have both sidebars open at the same time by pinning the one that isn't open. Come on, let's create a new file, and then I will screen share with you. And here we go. I have got to get a Stream Deck or something so that I can do this and have the high-speed, low-drag, nifty little transitions with one push button. Because right now, StreamYard doesn't support hotkeys. Anyway, so we have this sidebar open, our drawing tab. We come over, we see toolpaths right here. If I hover my cursor over that or click that tab, it opens up the toolpath tab. Now, if you look up here, you will see the question mark and a little pin that says auto hide. If I click on that pin, it stays open. So now I can have my toolpath tab and my drawing tab open at the same time. And I'll go one step further in that you can also have your 2D view and 3D view open at the same time using these two icons here. You can arrange them horizontally, so you have your 2D view up above and your 3D view down here, or you can go side to side if you prefer. So if you have toolpaths over here, and if you watch Vectric's older tutorials, this is how they did it. They would have their 2D view open here, select a vector, go up here and create the toolpath, calculate it. The preview would open. They would preview it over here. To me, this looks too small. I can't see what I want to see. And to you, especially if you're on a mobile device, it would be even smaller. So I keep the single view by doing, expand one view or the other and toggle back and forth using the tabs as I need them. But this is how you keep both tabs open. Now, personally, I don't keep them both open. I like to try to get my workspace out here as big as possible. So to get rid of this and close this or this, you would click that pin again and it goes away. But you could always bring it back up by hovering your mouse cursor over that tab right there. Something else I did, which Todd mentioned, and I think Becky mentioned it too, during the user group meeting, is I'm using version 11, but you'll notice my tabs are not here along the side. I put my tabs back down on the bottom where I'm used to seeing them. And let's see, which one was it? It was options, I believe, in the edit. Come on. I believe it's in options. Gotta find it. I think it's in here. General settings. I probably passed it and didn't see it. Save tab layout. No. Tab location. There we go, right here in the top panel. So it's edit, then down to options, then tab locations. I have mine set to bottom. Click it, and there's the drop-down menu. You can have it on the left. And that puts the tabs over here. Or you can put it on the bottom. That's where I put it because that's where I'm used to looking for them. It's just easier for me. So, okay, let me get out of this and go back. So, that Go in there. Let's see. Yeah, Norman, going to be a good reason to get a larger monitor. Yeah, I'm with you. I have one monitor. That's why I had the tablet out here. But if the UGM has shown me anything, that is, I need to get another monitor. And so I can have two or three things open at once. For instance, I could have Aspire open on another monitor and just transfer over to that from here and not have to worry about that whole screen share thing or what have you. So yeah, I'm just still getting into it. So it's this is literally a blank slate in here right now. The only thing I have in here is my table saw. I'm moving my mouse cursor, like you can see that. The only thing I have in here is my table saw, and if you take a look right there, previews of coming attractions, I'm finally going to build my assembly table, and there's the casters for it. Yes, there will be a video on it. Okay, I think basically we're done. I don't think there were any other questions. I'm getting. Let's see. Podman says, really appreciated the two-sided presentation. Thank you very much. Will you more in the future? More presentations or more two-sided machining? Yes to both. Again, I said, as I said earlier, I was invited to do another presentation for the 2022 UGM down in San Diego, and I'm fully plan on being there, and I hope you're there too. Do I plan on doing more two-sided machining? Count on it. Yes. And I'm telling you, as I said it before, I'll say it again. Once you get your first two-sided project under your belt, you will become addicted. You will become addicted. I'm telling you. It is that I start looking for excuses to to do something two-sided. What that doesn't have to be. Well, like the shop clock, and I see your I see your question, John. I'll get to it in just a second. I could have very easily, I could very easily have done those shop clocks. I got the movement right here, and used the hanger that comes with the movement to hang the clock. I could have very easily just used a piece of 3/16 inch thick material and just applied this to the back of it. But no, my brain said, go down to the hardware supplier, get you some 4/4 stock that's nice, and make you a decent clock. So that's what I'm going to do. I have not physically cut it yet, but I will. Let's see. John says, can you briefly explain the graphics for the gear, the saw blade, and the rotor grooves? I don't know what you mean by explain the graphics. Let me load that project here. And come on, old laptop. Where did I put it? There, and there we go. All right, open up, and okay, come on. There we are. Get back over to StreamYard. I couldn't find you. And it helped me if you would, John. What is it that you would like an explanation to? So, and I just clicked away from you. Did I draw them or import them? Yes, I did both. I took some inspiration from some of the some just Google images when it came to the cooling slots in the brake drum, for instance. That and having an old set of brake drums from our Jeep sitting out here in next to the shed, waiting to go to the scrapyard. So they're just basically drawing them. It's circles. That's all it is. And it's the same with the cooling fins. Just draw a circle uh, with a huge diameter and use a segment of that as an arc and fashion everything else around it. It's just simple circles, and it's just thinking in different levels. Let me get over here, and I have the brake rotor. Let's preview it here. And then just kind of thinking outside the box when it came to how to machine it. Again, like I said, I could have just V-carved those lines into it, but I wanted it to look like a brake rotor. I wanted I wanted it to have some relief and some depth to it. So that's why I did all the beveling on the edges, because real brake rotors are beveled on the edges. I wanted there to be a bevel on the lug nut holes, and I wanted the center hub to stand proud. Now it only stands proud by about a quarter of an inch, but whereas a real brake rotor, this would be probably an inch of relief here. But it looks more like a brake rotor does than if I would have just V-carved it, you know. I did draw the I did draw the artwork for this one. Let's see what else. The gear I made in a program I got from Matthias Wandel years ago, his gear generator. I'll go look for it and find it and put a link to it. It's not expensive. I think it's like, if it's $20, I think I'm wrong. I don't think it's even that. But it will generate a gear outline into DXF. And I just went in and I named the number of teeth, I named the number of spokes, and I entered the information for the axle size, and it generated the vectors for this in DXF format. Then I imported it into VCarve, or Aspire rather. Let's see, get back over here. The saw blade, there are almost, but not quite, a bazillion different saw blade vectors online. They all have an issue with them. So I just kind of, instead of doing a bitmap trace, I imported a bitmap and I traced it myself. The sharp-eyed among you will know that this is a 17-tooth blade, which doesn't exist in real life that I've ever found anyway. Now watch, somebody's going to say, oh yeah, I got 6 of them. That's fine. But I traced it. I stole a page from Michael Mazalik's book. Thank you, Michael. And basically I drew 1/4, I traced 1/4, and then did an array copy of the entire blade and then joined vectors. That way I didn't have to go in and redo all of these retrace all of these all the way around. I have not demonstrated this kind of thing on my YouTube channel specifically, but I have demonstrated all of those processes, and that's no different. The video I put up of bitmap tracing the Volkswagen is no different from bitmap tracing a saw blade. It's the exact same thing. The only difference is the shape. So the short answer to the long question, John, is yes. I drew them, I traced them, I used another program as a generator. So, what can I say? Paul Coffey, 'tis a wonder you didn't thread the holes. Well, who says I didn't? That wasn't part of the demonstration. And, excuse me, the holes on my Jeep, they're not threaded. The studs stick through. But yeah, point well taken. So let's see. Was there anything else? Dave Blackburn, I guess you gave your nephews the day off yesterday. Yeah, that alludes to I have 3 nephews that live close by, very close by. And I'm going to recruit them to help me move the CNC router in here. I wanted to try to do that this weekend. There's no way it could have happened. So, things, the stars didn't line up. I'm going to try to shoot for next weekend. That's going to depend on some product availability because I still have to get a few things done here. But sometime in the next, before the end of September, I will have the CNC moved over here. Whether I'm cutting on it or not yet, because there's some work I have to do after I get it moved. I got to re-level. I got to check this. I got to check that. Bunch of stuff. But their free days are numbered. Okay. Okay, and this is going to have to be the last one. Mark, did you get a positive response from Vectric regarding Acme thread mill? The response I got was, okay, we heard you. You can decide for yourself whether that was positive or negative. I've been beating that horse for a while. Believe me, I would love to have support. I just want to be able to enter an Acme thread milling bit. That's all. Because when you're talking about threading wood, like for a box top, a screw-on box top, you're only talking about 2, maybe 3 threads, and they need a wide space between them, and they need a wide thread, the tooth of the thread, for lack of a better word. They need to be wide, and you need to be able to cut deep. Acme threads are perfect for that. But you can't, as it sits right now, enter an Acme thread mill into the software. I have tried to fudge it in a couple of different ways. I have not yet been able to test it to see if that fudging has worked yet. I mean, my fudging worked for the keyhole bit. Here's hoping I can make it work for this. But I'm not going to get into it publicly until I do it 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 times. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Holy cow, 50 minutes, Mark. Today, let's see here. Today I'm trying to find it. That's why I'm sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. There it is. Okay. Today at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, Michael Mazalik is going to be premiering part 3 of his series on creating a 3D modeled U.S. Air Force Chief Flight Nurse badge. This is part 3 of I don't know how many. But so far, he has taught us how to create the big wings. Then he's taught us how to create the small wings and tail feathers of the wings. And this week, he's going to get into the center shield and I believe the wreath and stars up above. That's today at 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern. There's a link to that video down in the description of this video right now. And I really hope to be there. Michael, I've got to go do something, and I hope I'm back in time. But I encourage you all to get over there and check it out because Michael is a wizard with this software as well. Give Becky and Todd a run for their money. I'm here to shout. And what he's doing with this flight nurse badge, I have seen probably a dozen requests for aviator wings, for flight surgeon badges, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps. There are a lot of models that can be made with the techniques he's showing, and specifically aviators wings and aviation wings that he's showing. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you get over to Michael's channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and be there this afternoon for part 3. That's going to be it for me. Next week's video is going to be, next week's video is going to be a demonstration on how I installed Aspire on this laptop, which had never had Aspire installed on it before. A lot of people are asking, how do you install on another computer? I'm going to show that. We'll be installing on this laptop. I'll go online and import my tool database, the whole enchilada. So that's next week's video. There will be a live Q&A after it. And after that, who knows? So have a good rest of your Sunday. I want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody who came over and checked out the user group meeting. I saw a bunch of you over there supporting me in the chat. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody who has sent super chats and used super stickers, and everybody who has clicked those donation links. None of this would be possible without it. So I'd like to say from the bottom of my heart, again, thank you very much. Now go do something cool for about an hour, then come back and check out Michael's video. We'll see you over there. Y'all